My little stuff leaning in the back or whatever. It's Monday. We're gonna get started. Yeah, we're gonna get started. So today we're talking about shame. But before we do that, if you haven't gotten my books, Finding Me, the Couples Conversation Journal, and my new joint that's coming out, Disjointed, keeping my shit together journal. Please make sure that you cop that either at Book Baby, and you can look up my name, Sade O'Rourke, or you can go to my website, the Mahogany Project, projek.com, and cop your copies. If you haven't got my couples conversation cards, make sure you cop those on my website also. Um, y'all, I just have to say this because I felt like I was trying to rush to get in here. I didn't feel like I was. I was rushing to get in here. I made some shrimp fried rice last night. It was just so good. It was just so good. Like, it was just so good. So I was trying to hurry up and finish that. On top of the fact that I baked some bread. So I found this dope recipe for, because bread, first of all, for those of you who don't bake, let me back up a little bit further. I enjoy baking. I do it as a hobby, right? It is very relaxing to me. I cook every Sunday. I cook several meals on Sundays to kind of expand through the week so my family can piece things together. If you don't feel like fried rice today, we have taco egg rolls. If you don't feel like taco egg rolls, there are sandwiches. If you don't feel like sandwiches, I actually didn't cook my salmon yesterday, but I'm gonna make salmon. Salmon and cabbage. Cabbage already made, have to make the salmon. So I do that just so I don't have to feel the pressure of cooking through the week. So I cook multiple meals on Sundays, every Sunday. So this Sunday I made taco egg rolls. I made shrimp fried rice. I made some cabbage, and then of course I'm gonna make my salmon. I made some artesian bread, but it had to sit for 24 hours. I meant to make it Saturday. Obviously, that never happened. So I made it yesterday, and I had to get up this morning and bake it. I also made some vanilla Swiss rolls. And yes, like the Swiss rolls, those are hard. Listen, I watch the baking shows, like the Great British Baking Show, which I love. My daughter and I watch what is it called? I can't think of the name of it. We watch all these baking shows. They made Swiss rolls and they made it look easy. Making Swiss rolls is not it's not easy at all because there's so many steps to it, right? The cake itself, I had to make two different, like I had to make a meringue and I had to make a chantilly cream. The chantilly cream is what's on the inside of the roll, but the meringue is what's on inside of the cake batter. Listen, I had to make cake batter, had to make a meringue. You fold the meringue into the cake batter. Then you make the chantilly cream first so you could have that cooling in the refrigerator while you do the rest of the steps. Then you have to cut the cake. Then you have to cut the slits. Then you have to pre-roll it, let it cool, roll it out, put the cream in it, re-roll it, put it in the refrigerator overnight. Why was this Swiss roll so stressful? I'm just trying to figure out. It was so many steps. I didn't think that out all the way. I know my husband loves Swiss rolls. I was trying to do the right thing. That's all. My husband loves Swiss rolls. I don't even like Swiss rolls. I don't eat them at all. I don't think I ever have. If I have, it's in my past life. Like, I don't eat stuff like that. I made them for him. Anyway, got up this morning. They look fine. They look fire. After the whole night in the refrigerator, they look fire. Do you hear me? I am so proud of myself for making Swiss rolls. It was a little bit challenging making the Swiss rolls, but after they were done and when I got up this morning and took them out of the refrigerator, they are beautiful. Okay, beautiful. I am so proud of myself. Usually I make like cakes, cupcakes, stuff like that. I play with my flavors. So this time I wanted to go step it up and make something a little more complex. And I made Swiss rolls and I made some bread. My bread is fire. It's delicious. Hey, my bread is fire. My bread came out so good, artesian bread. I'm gonna try to post the recipe. Very, very easy. For those of you who like to cook or just need something quick and you want some fresh bread to go with your sandwiches or your meals, it's really, really, really easy. So I know I have some of y'all coming in. I was just simply talking about my routine of cooking on Sundays. I cook multiple meals on Sundays so my family can enjoy throughout the week and I don't have to have the pressure of cooking through the week because as y'all know, I own a business. I'm an author. I'm writing books. I got projects. I have stuff to do. So I don't have time to be cooking during the week. On top of the fact that our daughter has multiple activities that she participates in 4 days out of the week. So no thanks. Um, but yes, we're gonna get started in today's topic. I hope that I needed to say that because I'm telling y'all, my shrimp fried rice came out fire last night. It was just fire. But on top of the fact that my husband ate most of the shrimp out of it, but that's neither here nor there. So and he ate most of the egg rolls while I was asleep, so there's not a lot of egg rolls left. Like I knew I should have made more. I know better. I know my husband. I know better. But anyway, I digress. Today we're going to talk about shame. Today we're going to talk about shame. And I love the way that I titled today's live because it is the forgiveness killer. It just came to, I swear to y'all, it's like these ideas come to me in the oddest of times and I just jot them down and I love to keep them in my tuck. And today, I love today's title, Shame, the Forgiveness Killer. Shame is a really tricky concept because it's not that we don't have reasonable reasons why we feel shame, right? If we feel whatever our feelings are, right, wrong, or indifferent, it just is what it is. Those are our feelings, right? The contributors, the influencers, can be sometimes unreasonable, hurtful, really have nothing to do with us, but we take them on. We've been violated. There's so many reasons why we can feel shame as a result of something we've experienced. Hell, I call it passive shame, but like shame, even for an experience of someone else, like all of the reasons why we feel shame, right? But even in the midst of us feeling shame, then it combats the idea that we deserve forgiveness. Does that make sense to everybody? And have you had that experience? Having felt shame for something or ashamed of something, then it really becomes then a barrier between you forgiving yourself. And then that contributes to you feeling more shameful, right? It almost validates the shame. I should have more shame, or my shame is valid because I'm unable to forgive myself from whatever this experience was. Does that make sense to everybody? And how does that translate in real time? I mean, there are reasons, when I research the word shame, when I do these lives, I like to do a little research before I actually do it because it's different when you're talking with the client versus you just doing this like as an exploration. I kind of feel like in these things I'd be talking to myself, right? Even though y'all be on here, if you're not actively like commenting, it feels like I'm just on a soapbox. um so the definition of shame is, or how it's defined on verywellmind.com, is shame can be defined as a feeling of embarrassment or humiliation that arises in relation to the perception of having done something dishonorable, immoral, improper. I'm going to underline those. We're going to come back to those. While shame is a negative emotion, its origins play a part in our survival as a species. So after I read that definition, I thought it was super interesting, especially the last piece, how shame has also contributed to our survival. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that shame has contributed to our survival? Because my thought is, you know, it's a really tricky feeling because on one hand, where it's like you're holding yourself accountable to something. On the other hand, then it can feed into or motivate you to do something else. Um, if that makes sense. Sometimes shame can motivate or encourage productive behavior. Sometimes it can. Eventually, it needs to be resolved, though. Eventually, I'm not at all. Every we can funnel any feeling into being productive. That we can do. We can funnel our fears, our inspiration, our joy, our love, our hate, our peace. We can funnel all of that into being productive at some point, right? However, we have to be very careful on how that looks, because sometimes we then project it onto others. Sometimes we then function in that space that we intend to be productive unproductively. Sometimes our shame doesn't allow us to meet our fullest potential. Sometimes, of course, shame becomes the barrier between us being our best self. And forgiveness is a big part of that. Forgiveness allows us to have peace. Forgiveness allows us and gives us permission to be a person. We all fuck up. I literally apologize just about every day. Just about every day. And to myself, I'm like, Sade, you fucked up. How you gonna resolve it? Let's move forward. Ain't no need. And have I felt embarrassed? Have I felt shame? Have I felt for sure? For sure. And I'm sure I'll feel much more. But there has to be a cutoff. There has to be a space where I can have peace and joy. There has to be a space where I can forgive myself so I can move forward, and not be projecting that out into the world or creating unnecessary chaos for myself as a result of it. So just being clear about the function in our lives and how we intend to use it. What are we going to do with it? Um, we've all been there. We've all felt shame in some way, shape, or form. That doesn't mean we need to carry it forward forever. It doesn't have to be our forever feeling. It can be temporary, but that's our choice, right? We have to work at it. It's not going to resolve itself. Sometimes it does. Sometimes time does help resolve things. But most times, what I find is time helps us move it to the back burner and we act like it doesn't exist, right? And it comes up or comes out in precarious ways that we don't necessarily choose, right? But because it's there, it then controls us versus us controlling it, managing it. So just to be very careful. I mean, it is a really shame can take you into some very tricky, dangerous places, especially if you're fighting to not feel ashamed, but you're taking it out on other people. That can be really tricky. So you want to just be mindful of that, especially in relationships. Sometimes, we can manage things on our own, but the moment we come in and we're engaging or interacting in our relationships, the shit blows up because, our nature takes over. Our natural instincts, the things that we do without trying, take over. And that becomes dangerous because the shame is still there, whether you intend on projecting it or not. Um, and that we just have to be careful of because it just can be a real dangerous space that we function in when we don't pay attention to it. Did y'all understand everything I was saying? Do y'all have any questions? I know it's a really tricky topic and I didn't want to get too deep. I really just wanted to focus on, it looks like I keep blinking or like winking, doing weird shit with my eyes. I didn't want to get too deep into it because shame can take you into some other varying places and topics. But I wanted to make sure we talked about to just be mindful of it. If you're feeling shame or if you have feelings of shame, own it so you can do something about it and be clear that it can't absolutely kill your ability to forgive yourself. So, again, that is going to require you to really work at it. And it's nothing, you don't have to be ashamed of that. We all fuck up. We all mess up. We all have times when we find ourselves embarrassed or needed to reconcile, and it can be hard, and we are going to feel shame, and we just have to make it make sense when it does. Feel your feelings. Don't avoid it. Don't try to run away from it, because it's not going anywhere. Either you deal with it or it will deal with you. That's your choice. That is your choice. Shame could even prevent you from forgiving other people, even when the forgiveness is for you. Sis, sir, when it's for you, forgiveness is for you. If anybody ever told you forgiveness is for them, I believe it's a two-part experience, but 99.9% of it is for you. It helps you move forward. Whether you choose to engage in a relationship or experience again or not, it is for you. Forgiveness is freedom. It's freedom. It brings you peace. Peace. It takes so much energy and effort to be angry and upset. And it's the cycle of it is unproductive. Fuck the feeling. The cycle of it is unproductive. Now I'm frustrated. Now that's impacting my work. Now that's impacting my other relationships. Now that's impacting my job. Now that's impacting my bed. Ain't nobody got time for that. Nobody has time for it. Changes your mood. It changes your experience in the world. It changes your ability to be present. Listen, it takes way more energy out of you to be angry and frustrated and walk around feeling ashamed for years and years and years and years and years and years. Some people live their entire lives in shame. So please, be thoughtful about what what role shame plays in your life. I think sometimes people build their lives around these feelings. I'm ashamed. I'm dishonorable. So I'm gonna build my life around that. I'm going to continue to keep validating that because that's what I believe about me. Not even realizing that that's what you've done. And how is that helpful? If you build your life around shame, what do you do with that? What outcomes do you think you're going to get of it? If you feel shame, meaning you haven't forgiven yourself, I don't see or hear the peace in that. How are you going to engage and interact in relationships if you feel shameful often? I believe that. I believe you could be addicted to any damn thing. Shame, work, sex, drugs, money, love. You can be addicted to anything. And the addiction serves a purpose, right? It helps us avoid something else. It helps us cope, deal, manage something else. It doesn't go away though. It doesn't. Sometimes it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, over and over and over and over and over and over. And we want somebody else to save it. We're begging other people to save us because we couldn't figure out how to save our fucking selves. You know how much easier it is to point to somebody else and say, you fix it? One, because they can't, although we want to believe that they can, and we want to believe that if they change something in their lives, or they do something different for us, it's going to make our lives easier. When most of the time we're the biggest issue, we are the fucking problem. We are our biggest barriers. We are our biggest challenges. And the moment that we start to live our life differently, we'll see it through a different lens and we'll get different outcomes. Shame is not different. It's not different. I'm trying to show some of these on here. Yeah. It's not different, you guys. And the thing is this, I'm not at all saying that there's something wrong with feeling shame. I'm Let me underline that, highlight, asterisk. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with feeling shame. We all experience or feel shame at any point in our lives. The difference is, are we letting it control us or are we managing it? Are we able to feel it, experience it, forgive and move forward? Or are we holding on to it by avoiding it, not dealing with it, letting us letting it embody us, letting it be present in every relationship, experience, workspace we have. There is a very clear difference here, and we have to be clear about the difference. We have to be clear because shame is a us thing, it's a me thing, not a you thing, it's a me thing. What are you willing to do about it? You know, a lot of times I find that people struggle because they just don't know what to do with it. Okay, I feel it. And what else do you want me to do? How do I move forward? How do I? Okay, this is totally a side note. Clearly, this is how my mind works. What the fuck is wrong with my eyebrows? My eyebrows are struggling so bad, it's not even funny. Like, the more I look at this damn screen, it pisses me off, but that's neither here nor there. Back to the regular scheduled program. Like, what the hell? Um, Shame is a us thing. And the tricky thing about a us thing is a lot of times it can be easier to point fingers and tell people how to do things different, give advice versus turning it here and doing the work ourselves. That's really tricky, because sometimes we stand in the way, and we it's very difficult to see the problem if it's so like close up on you. Have you ever put something in front of your face and then it blurs? That's kind of the way that I think of like our issues sometimes, is when we see things from further away, you know, or we see them in reasonable distance. It's easier to problem solve. It's easier to make it make sense. It's easier to resolve. But when it's so close and it's like, well, what is that? How do you can I like what do I do? What do I do with that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And we just get it stuck in the pattern or cycle that works for us to deal with it. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's productive. It can be very unproductive, right? We just get stuck in the cycle. So don't get stuck in the cycle. Take them. That's what therapy does. It takes it from being here to here, right? It takes it from in the blurry space in your side eye and whatever. It takes that to be in front of you. Help you make it make sense. That's what therapy's about. People don't have answers for you. They can't fix you. They can't change your life. They can't do any of that. They don't have the power to. They can provide you with tools and resources, support, help process with you, provide you critical feedback, all of those great things. But to fix you, change you, do it for you, they cannot do that. We don't have the power. I'm not that powerful. I don't have that much skill or talent in the damn world. And I'm just, your average Joe Sade Schmo. But I hope all this made sense today. I really love this topic because, I want to say that specifically for Black folks, it's so often that socially it's almost damn trying to ingrain in us that we have every reason to be ashamed just for being Black. That is something wrong with the fact that we're these beautiful tones of brown, that, our culture and heritage is somehow tainted and wrong, that we have all these reasons to feel, from the way we dress to the way we speak to our culturally wonderful, beautiful language to our relationships to, we have every reason to feel ashamed. And then when we don't, it's life changing. When we find our power, it's life changing. When we embrace and embody, it's life changing. When we let our creativity flow, it's life changing. It changes the world. We change the world. So I hope, just putting a positive word in the universe, some positive energy. Listen, I got up this morning, I had to sage my shit. I saged the whole house. Computers, beds, doorways. I saged the whole joint. I saged my office last week, try to make it a regular occurrence. We got to clear our spaces out. We got to clear this shit up. The rest of your life is awaiting. Every moment matters. And if you don't make it matter, trust me, it'll go quickly. It'll go quickly, whether you like it, whether you engage with it, whether you forgive yourself or not. So make it make sense. I hope this was helpful and inspiring or encouraging or some shit today. If it wasn't, I hope you had a good time hanging out with me. Make sure you get my book, Finding Me, and I will see you next Monday. Peace.